In 3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
We are live, sir.
Well. We have a little shift in plans. I know I went Facebook Live on my Facebook earlier today and falsely let everybody know that Matt Margolis was going to be on with Heather. Matt is on next week. My bad. In his place, we have the handsome Ryan Cotter of Movement Mortgage in the studio. But we're going to start with Heather before we do our shout-outs.
We are indeed.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to get right in with Heather because she's come to us with the magic of FaceTime, or the somewhat magic of FaceTime. We've kept having some difficulty getting our FaceTime guests to actually show their faces on WheelHouse, so we might only have her audio. But I'm excited to chat with her because she's a rock star out in San Diego. She's the president and CEO of Publicity for Good. She's been seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, CNN, U.S. News. Basically anywhere you can see anybody on television, she's been seen.
Pretty much.
So, Heather, thanks for joining us.
Of course. I'm so excited to be here.
So tell us what you guys do at Publicity for Good, because you do a lot, and I don't want to butcher it, and I want you to be able to tell the story.
So we're a purpose-driven, millennial-run PR agency that uses market relevancy and news timing to help companies be relevant in today's market.
Awesome. So quickly, millennials, what age group do you find to be millennials? Because I always get this, people around my age, I'm 34, say, well, we're not millennials, but I technically, I guess, fall into that realm of a millennial.
So I honestly feel that a millennial is up until 30, like 29.
Okay, so I'm not a millennial. I'm like whatever came right before them.
You're not a millennial.
Yes. I don't know why I feel like it's a stigma. It's really not, because millennials rock. They work really hard. And obviously in PR and media, if you want to know what to do in today's world, you probably want to talk to a millennial. They definitely know what they're doing more than the two old farts I have in the studio with me today.
Well, I think there's so much insight and knowledge that can come from people who are more wise or older. But I find a lot of times that companies are trying to target to a younger consumer, and they never take into account what they want, etc. So I think when you have a table that is very blended of ages is when you can have a strong marketing plan and a PR plan.
Totally agree with you. So you're out in San Diego. What do you guys do with press coverage out there? Because I was looking on your site. You guys do so much when it comes to social media, but you guys also do a fair amount of work when it comes to coverage on the press. You yourself have been in the press quite often.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is it's so important for me to be in the media so I can really understand it from a client's perspective, how they feel, the worries they have, etc., to really ensure that the experience and exposure is how it should be for the client.
Awesome.
And outside of that, we do everything from really working with a company, looking at the year ahead, looking at their product launches, looking at company announcements, looking at any goals for funding, any events they're going to be at, and then really creating a comprehensive PR plan around that. And also making sure that the CEO is a leader and is someone that people know about in the industry. A recent study came out that said now more than ever, CEOs are seeking press and to be seen as a thought leader so that they can build a brand and be seen as a leader outside of the company that they're with.
I really love that. And I feel like far too few, and you're saying, I agree with the study, probably more and more of this is happening. I feel like far too few people give as high of an importance as it should have on having a good launch. Because, right when you launch a business, I've launched a couple, people are most excited about you and about what you're doing. And unfortunately, most of us who start businesses have no idea how to properly launch our business when it comes to public relations and media. And it just makes so much sense to hire somebody like you guys who know what you're doing to have the ability to launch you with as much momentum as you can. Because that initial momentum, you're never going to get momentum like that again.
Right. And I think if you're worried about making an investment, you need to understand that if you're not making an investment, your competitor is making an investment. So you really don't have a chance to lose out on getting the market share with your message and mission.
Did you always want to be an entrepreneur yourself?
I did. And I think it's because I grew up with my dad and uncle in real estate. And I saw them as entrepreneurs, and they both passed away. My dad died when I was in high school, and then my uncle died a couple years later. So when I look at my life and looking at legacy, being an entrepreneur was the closest connection I had to them. So I always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Well, that's an incredible story, and I'm sure it really drives your passion forward with everything you do.
Absolutely.
Do you have other entrepreneurs in the family?
I don't. So I was adopted, and I'm the only child. So I don't. But I just think it, like, growing up and seeing my dad and uncle as an entrepreneur, but then also really being able to experience so much as a child. My parents helping to pay for my private university. I don't have college debt, which I'm super grateful for. The life that I was able to live is something that's really important for my future and my future family. So I feel like that's really my driving factor.
I love that. You can just tell the passion you have for it. And it comes out. I mean, people got to go and visit your site, because if you jump around on your site a little bit, your passion and the passion for what you guys do really does come out on it. Any exciting launches or anything coming up soon here for any of the people that you're pushing that you guys want to share?
Yeah, so one that I'm really excited about is I'm working with two people. One of them actually acquired Pert and Dial soap and helped to grow it, and sold a lot of companies. And then the other has worked with a lot of the big beverage companies that are really popular in the all natural space to get acquired. And together they have more than 100 years in the beverage and CPG space. And now they're at the latter stage of their life, and they have so much knowledge working with consumer packaged goods companies and growing them, that they're actually creating a business accelerator to really get in the trenches and help these companies scale and grow and really prepare for funding. And it's amazing to look at these extremely successful entrepreneurs who have helped CPG companies get acquired. They invest heavily in other companies, and now at the end stage of their life, instead of just sitting on all the money they acquired, they're spending so much time in helping younger entrepreneurs and other companies really excel.
I love that. It's we talk about it on the show a lot. It's the idea of giver's gain, and that's really, really awesome.
Right. Yeah, so that's just called the CPG Innovative Brands Accelerator, and that's one of them that I'm really excited about, because they're just as passionate about the bottom line as they are impact. I think my love for that and conscious capitalism really came because I did an intensive at Georgetown, and it was all on philanthropy and what's our moral responsibility. And it just made me realize that the more money I make, the bigger impact I can make in this world. And you don't have to feel guilty about making money. Like, I love the fact that I can have a team and employ them. And it's just an amazing feeling.
It really is. It's totally empowering, and I agree with you. All too often, I think in today's world, people almost poo-poo others for making money, but it does allow you, especially those who give back. And I feel like a lot of successful people I know give back, and a lot of people say, well, successful people have a lot of money, and they should give back. I feel like most of the ones I know do give back, and I agree with you. It's completely empowering. Any tips for us? We always try to give some tips to new entrepreneurs or somebody who's launching a business, maybe even in your realm of media. A couple things or a thing they should be considering when launching a business.
So I think timing is really important. So since we're heading into the new year, we need to look ahead at our business and events that we're going to and create a PR plan around that. Most people dream of national media, Bloomberg, CNN, but you need to realize that as a business owner, unfortunately, you haven't earned your stripes yet to achieve that level, and that's okay. But you have to start local. You have to look to your local business journal to cover you. You have to look at, are you blogging? You have to look at lower hanging fruit to build your brand. And also realize that LinkedIn is another whole beast where you can start putting content out there. As times are changing, we have media companies. As business owners and entrepreneurs, we can actually as well become our own media engine, if you will, and start putting content out there. From that, that's really how a lot of organic press can come from you every week putting an article out there on your blog or LinkedIn page.
That's a really solid piece of advice, and I love that. Original content is something that's so missed by new businesses, and people search and they try to share and try to take and put as much content as they can out there. Do you guys work with companies all across the states? I just want to get that out there for people listening.
We work with companies internationally as well as in the States.
So anybody who wants to reach out to you, they can be in the U.S., they can be out of the U.S., they don't just have to be in Southern California.
Yeah, so they can go to Publicity for Good, but something I'm really excited about is we launched a PR software called Press Demand, which literally anyone can use it to get press, and it's just $97 a month. So really making PR accessible for all. PR has helped my business. It's helped clients really double their revenue. And honestly, I feel like for any business to succeed in this world, you really need, of course, social media and an online presence, but you need to have an integration plan with PR as well.
And how does somebody who's listening go ahead and find that?
You can just go to Press, so PRESS, Demand, DEMAND.com.
PressDemand.com. Awesome.
Yeah.
I wish we could have seen you. We'd love for you to come in studio if you're ever in Chicago. Let John and I know. We'd love to have you in here. And if we're ever in San Diego, we should probably come soon because it's getting pretty cold out here. We're going to have to come and seek you out and come talk to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, PR is exciting. You shouldn't be intimidated by it. And if you feel you're not ready, you have to do it. So,
I agree. You got to be crazy in this day and age not to have a really good PR plan. And I am of the mindset that even if you think you know what you're doing with PR, you definitely don't know what you're doing on the level of somebody who's a professional like you. And hiring somebody to do that can build so much momentum for you at the beginning, either the beginning or whenever you're in your business and you decide you want to have a PR launch or increase the PR of your business. Hiring somebody like you guys is going to get you there so much quicker than trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, and I think lastly, like having a dedicated person every day thinking, oh my gosh, like what can I do to take my brand and client forward? Because most times I feel like entrepreneurs are the only one working on their business, that bringing in a publicist to support their brand day in and day out is a total game changer.
Totally agree with you. Thanks again so much for coming on. Again, looking forward to finally meeting you in person and keep on kicking butt. For those of you listening, definitely go check out Publicity for Good. It's a really cool site. And if you need some publicity, some PR, or learn what to do when it comes to social media with your business, give Heather and them a call because I guarantee you they're going to do it better than you are.
Thanks so much, Heather. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Yeah.
So I think we got the FaceTime audio working.
We got the FaceTime audio working.
Hopefully we can see this guy's face, our in-studio guest, Ryan Cotter. I was joking with Cotter. We should do shout-outs before I get to him. But I was joking with him about how he's like the Steve Jobs of mortgage because I only really see him in that like blue button-down. And maybe it's just timing. Like you have that one outfit that I just think is Ryan Cotter. When I think of you, I think of this outfit you're wearing.
I have more than one outfit. But yes,
You have
I do.
more
I
than
do.
one of
I do
those
have more than
button-down
one outfit,
shirts.
yes.
John, you got any shout outs before I start teasing Cotter for the next 20, 30 minutes?
No, I want to hear more about his
His
closet,
attire.
all the different shades of blue that he has in there, and he always looks dapper.
He does. He's always well put together.
He is.
Steve Jobs was not as well put together as Ryan Cotter. He may be a little bit richer than you, but was not as well put together.
Yeah.
But Cotter's a lot more alive.
He is. He is a lot more alive.
Goes a long way.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Do you want any shout outs?
Shout outs. You know, I don't think I have anything really critical this week.
Okay,
Sorry to
cool.
let you down.
Apparently, we
I
got to
just-
shout out to my guy friends because you
Oh,
promised them you would.
You know,
I wouldn't have shouted out to John and Sean Sultani, but apparently John reminded me we had our holiday party on
Yeah.
Friday, our Main Street holiday party, and some of my drunken friends that were not Main Street employees decided to show up and just drink
Nice. That's what you want.
on the Main Street tab, and
it was terrible.
they forced John to get
Yeah.
a shout out today.
Oh, okay. So, to Sean and to John, I know that we were talking on Friday, and you made mention you watch the show all the time. Thank you very much. And you hear all these shout outs, but you never hear your name. So this is your shout out. Had a great time Friday night. It was weird.
It got
I'm glad
weird.
that- I'm glad that
Did it
you,
get
uh,
It
weird?
did get weird.
I'm glad that you brought this to mind. So we were all out and about, and I don't know if somebody was having a late Halloween party or something, but I saw the place that we were all at after the boat.
Timothy
Did you see a
O'Toole's.
vampire come through? And they
No,
were
there's
like-
no
yeah.
there's no vampire.
I saw a vampire
Oh.
and biting on different shoulders and necks and such.
Yeah, I
It
saw
was
the
a
same.
weird
I saw
night
the
on
same
Friday night.
vampire.
Did you?
I did.
All right. I just want to make sure because I knew
I
we
saw
all had
him.
a couple cocktails.
I saw that same vampire.
All right.
I don't
So,
think it was the drinks talking.
Everybody beware. There's vampires amongst us.
Oh man, I'm not even going to tell them we were on the show, or that we mentioned them on the show, and we'll see if they
Yeah,
actually
if
watch
they
the
actually
show.
Watch. If they actually watch, they'll have something to say about that.
That's an inside joke.
It is.
Cool.
That's all I got.
Well, let me get to Ryan Cotter because he's doing a lot of new stuff. He's got a new position with Movement Mortgage. He's a market leader. I'm not going to butcher what you do at Movement Mortgage, and I'm going to let you tell everybody.
Well, thank
what
you.
do.
Thank you. Everything from, like we mentioned, talent acquisition to production management, hiring, and just trying to launch this market. Movement is really big outside of Illinois. Inside Illinois,
outside
nobody
Illinois.
even knows them, right? So I'll mention, hey, if you heard of this company called Movement Mortgage, and in legitimately like 50% of the United States, the answer is absolutely, yeah. They're awesome. They're a fantastic company. I say it here in Chicago, and nobody even has heard of them before. So the good opportunity to bring their culture, which I think is it's a fantastic culture, and how they do their business to the Chicago market. It's pretty exciting.
It's pretty cool. The whole real estate market in Chicago, it's kind of shifting. So many big national players that were not big in Chicago are coming in. And the real estate broker side, obviously Compass came in and they've made a gigantic splash. Movement, like you said, is humongous outside of Chicago. When you mentioned it to me when we spoke a little bit ago, I hadn't heard of them. And then I looked into them and realized, holy smokes, they are huge. They're big.
Yeah.
And they've come to Chicago and they said, we want this Ryan Cotter guy.
No joke.
here
They
you are.
actually did approach me.
I'm teasing you, but
no,
for everybody, I'm being serious. Ryan Cotter's a rock star. So, jokes aside, they came to Chicago and sought out Cotter.
Yeah, it was nice. It's very, very humbling. Some of the previous joint ventures I worked on garnered some notice. So they approached me, said, "Hey, what do you think about us?" And I told them what I personally think that they would need to do to enter into a market like Chicago, which that's tough here. I mean, this is the backyard of a lot of top lenders across the country.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like the big leagues. By talking to a lot of the heads of a lot of really large mortgage companies, they were pretty on the fence of whether or not they thought that the company Movement would even want to come in to Chicago because market share, there's there's no room for somebody small to come in and try to do what they want. You have to come in. You got to come in big.
Yeah.
So, and then there's just no guarantees because there's entrenched lenders that have been here that have their, their loyalties with people's in the real estate community because they perform. They've done the right thing. So for somebody new to kind of come in, even though they have, a great track record throughout the country, it was about a 6-month process of me discussing if they were interested in coming into Chicago the correct way.
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that. It's one of those markets, like you said, where so many people, realtors, real estate offices, even consumers have kind of found the people they want to work with. So to come in here and make a splash, A, is costly because you're going against, like you said, some really big players that have established big marketing campaigns. And B, you got to build a lot of relationships with people quickly to survive.
Right.
So they got you, which is a big relationship for them because you know everybody. It's funny. The other day, actually like a month ago, I had a client of mine looking for a home outside of the state, and his realtor had mentioned, and I'll talk to you off air about it, but his realtor was like, "Oh yeah, I know this guy Ryan Cotter." And he had mentioned you from your previous company, and I was like, I think he's moving or moved. But I didn't know if I was able to announce it yet. So
right.
I was like, kind of like in limbo, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't know if I could actually say that he's made the move or not. But I'm glad now you can announce that you've made the move.
Absolutely.
But you're kind of a famous guy.
Not really.
Somewhat in the mortgage world.
Infamous is probably a better.
Infamous when he used to be a cowboy in Mexico, in Cancun, right?
The village people.
Yeah, riding his donkey and a sombrero down in Cancun. That's a totally different story. What do you think about the general market for rates in general? I mean, they're going up. What do you think is going to happen at the beginning of this year? It's going to happen with the Fed. That's a big question.
So have some insight with some current Fed employees. Rates have kind of actually come down over the last few weeks, from, a little bit of a, spike. Low inventory, home buyers, that are kind of on the fence. I think the rates are going to stay probably where they're at through Q1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And then in the spring, you could see a huge influx, right? And then that'll drive rates up.
You know what's crazy is obviously the rates have gone down a little bit. Mm-hmm. They're nothing like they were when they were in the 3s and even the really low 4s. Mm-hmm. And people now are like, oh my God, rates went down again. Whereas 4 months ago, people were like, oh, these are the worst rates of all time.
Right.
And even if they were at this rate now and hadn't gone up and then back down, people would be like, oh my God, the rates are so high. People's memories are so short term that if they go up, and even if they pull back ever so slightly, people are like, oh my God, rates went down again. And they're happy.
They just like hearing good news, right?
Yeah, good news. It's true.
And prior to that, the phrase rate envy was out there a lot because as they're going up, your friends who got an 1/8 or 1/4% lower, you don't like them anymore.
Yeah, I've had clients who are now buying again who bought in 2013. They're about 5 years out from when they bought. They're like, but my rate was 3.125, and I'm like, good after luck, never going to happen again for a long, long period of time, anytime in the near future. But your 5% rate is also not astronomical.
No.
You're getting a 30-year loan to buy a house at that percentage. And it used to be in the teens, and then even in the 06, 07s, it was 7-8%. This 5% rate's not that bad.
No. It's really, historically, again, it's phenomenal when you factor in, time value of money, when you factor in, the tax deduction, just not even accounting for appreciation. Assume there's no appreciation. Right. Just the two components of tax deduction,
principal pay down.
Yeah, and the fact that depreciation and again you have to have a housing expense. There's a cost to have a roof over your head. I tell that to everybody.
Right.
So might as well have it be the most advantageous cost over your head.
Well, and here's the thing. Renting made sense when you could get the same place for less money. I always looked at my old condo I had in Streeterville. In 2006, if my overall expense was $2,500 a month, my mortgage, my taxes, my assessments, my insurance, it was $2,500 a month. I could rent that place for $1,900. So somebody would rent it and say, oh, I'm saving $600 a month. That's enough of an incentive for me not to be a buyer. By the time I sold, it was $2,650 to rent it. It was $2,500 to own it. So why wouldn't you take the owning route? Let's say they were even. It was $2,500. Like you said, there's incentives to being an owner versus being a renter. Your principal pay down, you got tax write-offs. Right. They do appreciate, even if they don't, like you said, there's an incentive. And that's what I tell everybody. You're paying somebody. In renting, somebody else is getting rich and building wealth. In owning a home, you're building wealth. It's the only two ways to really put a roof over your head.
I mentioned it to somebody yesterday about like looking at options of when they're buying something, potentially looking at a 2-flat, a 3-flat, or 4-flat. Right.
Yeah,
my biggest thing is always like your first purchase. If you are okay not coming home and just taking off your shoes, you want to roll up your sleeves a little bit, and you want to help yourself out, financially in the future. Buy a 3-flat, buy an income-producing property, live in one of the units, rent out the other. They'll pay a portion of, if not the entire mortgage, and that's like it's a non-super secret key to success, right? Yeah. And financial freedom is owning income-producing properties, right? There's like 100,000 million books on the internet that tell you exactly what I'm saying in probably a way more eloquent way. But this person was talking about, well, I'm not sure yet. I was like, I completely understand. You don't want to be a landlord unless you're prepared to be a landlord. And I tell a lot of people, like, hey, if you want to, just come home and take your shoes off, buy a condo or rent. And if you're going to rent from me. Yeah. Because I love when people help me pay for the mortgage.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000,000%. I tell almost all the folks that are first-time home buyers, if you can get away with it, buy a building and rent out the units. Because right now you can do it FHA with 3.5% down. There's a bunch of 5% down options. Right. Normally, if you're an investor, just buying an investment, it's 25% down. That's a big difference. That's 20 to 21.5% more you have to put down. It's such a low threshold of money spent to become an investment owner. And, if you're young enough, in 30 years when that thing's paid off, even if you make one payment every single month for 30 years, that's a retirement plan. Yep. And you only really have to live there for a year as your primary residence. So move in, live there. If you hate it, then go buy a place. You've only put 3.5 to 5% down, and now you have an investment property that's income producing.
And the most important part of that is that you can't do it in the reverse order. You couldn't buy a condo first, and say, I'm going to live in it, I'm going to put the minimum down 5%, and then go buy a multifamily and say, I'm going to go live in that one, so I want to put the minimum down. You have to follow basically the order of how it's believable that you would move from a 4-flat to a single family or a condo. You're not going to do it in reverse order.
Has to be, your intention has to be for it to be your primary residence. And I remember I've talked to a couple of people in my career as a real estate attorney who said, well, what if I buy it like this and I just don't move in? I'm like, yeah, that's mortgage fraud. Right. So you probably shouldn't do that. And you give it away when you start doing stupid things like that.
For sure. I mean, there's so many great benefits that outweigh the stupidity factor of trying to trick it. Right. Trick the system. Just follow the system, follow how it goes, and they'll let you borrow up to 10 mortgages. You can get 10 mortgages, which means you could have upwards of 20 to 40 units. Yeah. Legally, completely on the books, and you could finance them very, very inexpensively. You were just saying, like, the 3.5%, 5% down. Programs are fantastic, but like the FHA 203K, where I tell people, here's an example of a couple of my clients that have bought buildings with when you factor in the tax credits, and I mean, they're coming in with like typically 2% and getting. This particular example got $100,000 to fix up the property.
Yeah, and then the value appreciates exponentially.
Yeah. They came into closing with $10,000. They bought a $500,000 property, and they got $100,000 on top of it to do improvements.
It's amazing. And you know what's crazy is, so you're good at 203K loans. So many people are terrified of these things, even realtors. They're like, oh, I don't want to touch a 203K loan. And they don't realize the value of it in adding equity into a property like that. It's really good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you guys do a bunch of them.
And then on top of it, just like a bunch of success stories of asking those people after the fact that they've done the improvements, hey, what did you rent those units out for, and how is it impacting your life right now? From like I'm completely living rent free to I'm actually making money every month, and I don't have that housing expense over my head. So the net swing is $60,000 a year, like net dollars,
Yeah, positive.
which.
And they put $10,000 in.
Right.
600% return on
And
their investment.
And when you factor it's $60,000 net, that's the equivalent of an $85,000 a year job. It's like you just got yourself a second job.
It's a retirement plan. I tell everybody, the more properties you acquire, the more the likelihood that you retire early and without stress. When you have money in retirement accounts, they can be very safe, but they're also not giving you consistent income flow every single month. Like you said, it's almost like having a salary. You retire, you could sit back. One of our agents has a lot of investment properties, and he could probably retire soon. I mean, he's got a crazy lifestyle, and he likes to travel a lot, so he might have to buy 5-6 more of these buildings, and then he can go do what he wants. But he's not even 40 yet, you know. So if you start acquiring, especially young, there's no bad time to acquire. But when you start young, that compounding effect is insane.
Right, and then it leads to generational wealth.
Right, exactly.
Right, which is the passing on whatever you acquire to your kids. Right? I've heard a bunch of great stories of my dad gave me this building when I turned 30, and it actually helped me pay off all my student loans, helped me pay for my wedding. Basically set me up for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
that's just one building, and it teaches people a work ethic. You can't just own a building and think that it's an armchair investment. That doesn't really happen. You're engaged, but that engagement comes gives you some financial freedom later on.
John over there is asking me what the website is for Movement.
Movement.com.
Whoa, you guys got that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Movement.com. That's simple.
Okay.
Easy enough. Even their emails are at movement.com.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like ryan.cotter@movement.com. He asked me to email him a reminder, but I didn't catch what he was saying. He wanted me to email him like in a reminder. So he just said, email me. I said, at what? Ryan.cotter@movement. So I emailed him, hello, is it me you're looking for? I just emailed a joke. He's like, no, you idiot. I asked you to email me a reminder. And I was like, I forgot. It's at movement.com.
So you had to send me a reminder for the reminder.
Yeah, I'll reply to the reminder. And
This is a reminder.
Actual reminder.
Yeah.
Real Estate Rumble. Let's chat that a little bit because you guys were just in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Our poor buddy Al Brown got beat up. Sorry, Al Brown.
He put up a good fight. Shout out to Al Brown.
Shout out to Al Brown for being brave enough to get in there because Al Brown doesn't train that much and just getting in there and boxing. That's a ballsy thing to do. People are like, well, it's the Real Estate Rumble. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes you get stuck in there with a goddamn box, like a Golden Gloves boxer, real boxer. And Al Brown got stuck in there with a dude who can box.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And he did all right.
He did all right.
He's
Again,
a tough guy.
He's a tough guy. He had a great night, I think, after the fight.
He always has a great night.
After the fight.
Yeah. I was in Las Vegas with Al Brown, I don't know, 2 months ago, and I just keep telling the story of my weekend with Al Brown. I can't say any of it on this show, but Al Brown's always a good time.
Yeah. I heard you like country music.
I love country music. I'm like a brown cowboy. You should have brought your sombrero in or your hat, your cowboy hat, and I would have worn it, sang you a tune. Wait a second. How did Vegas turn into country music?
Yeah, how'd that work out?
It's an inside thing.
Oh.
I actually don't even know the inside thing, so now I'm like, what did I do in Las Vegas?
That had to do with me and country music.
We'll have to talk about
yeah, we're
that.
gonna we're gonna find this
Now I
out.
got to know what Al Brown's talking about. Al Brown could be totally confused too. He had quite a weekend in Vegas.
But you just acknowledge that you do like.
I do love
so
country music.
there could be something there.
There probably
nothing.
is.
Probably nothing.
Probably nothing that wouldn't normally happen in Las Vegas.
Never know.
You never know. So how did Los Angeles Real Estate Rumble go?
It was awesome. I mean, we had 10 fights, raised $10,000 for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Had a good turnout. Everybody had a really good time. I got one of the nicest thank yous from one of the fighters post event, where he's like, "Hey, listen, I've been I've been in events like this before, and I'm always like skeptical of the people putting on the event and how it's gonna happen. Is there like the safety mechanisms in place? Because all these people are working professionals. None of these people, even though they may work out a bunch and be very good boxers, they all have day jobs.
Right.
And so he sent me this super nice email saying at the end, it was the best he's ever seen. Hats off to everybody for having a great event, and where could he personally donate $1,000?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you guys have done such a great job in Chicago, really figuring out how to do this the right way, making it a professional event, making it a fun event while still being professional. Because I've been to some boxing shows where you're like, this is really poorly done. Mm-hmm. You guys, it feels like a real boxing fight. It feels like an event. You guys have the DJs, people are getting announced, they've got walkouts, they got walkout songs. It really feels like an actual event. And you have two other parts of it. You have the other people watching who are having a blast, and then you have the charity arm of it where you guys raise a shit ton of money every year for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yeah. But they're also the fighters coming from being one of those people that stepped into the ring.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm very cognizant of all the time, which is like I want these guys and these girls to feel really loved as they number one come in the ring. My standard speech that I give is like it doesn't matter who you're here to cheer for. Everybody's champions. We're all doing something for a great cause. So if it's a friend of yours opponent, still give them a lot of love because they've
don't boo him.
Blood, sweat, legitimately in tears.
Yeah, and you got to have some balls to do it, and even the ladies don't have balls, but like they got to have some bravery to do it because it's
Cojones,
tough.
as they say.
Yeah, you
in
got
the
to have
South.
some guts to go ahead and do that because it's not easy, especially because you're walking out in front of a lot of your friends, and even if you do like a boxing event or a martial arts event or a jiu-jitsu event, usually you're doing it in front of a few people. You're not doing it in front of 1,000 people like we do in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's a big crowd, especially for somebody who isn't accustomed to doing it often.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Oh, yeah.
So they got a lot of guts.
There's a lot of nerve that it is required to first tell me that you're thinking about doing this event because my conversion rate, whether you're kind of on the fence or just asking the question, is 90s in the percentiles because
you're relentless
because I just tell you like congratulations, you've just signed up and I've just emailed all your friends,
and then you bother them for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Are you doing it?
So I mean it has to be out there like listen, if you call him up, there's an extremely high percentage chance that he's just going to sign you up and put your picture on Facebook and guilt you into it.
So for the folks in Chicago, if you're getting ready to do the Real Estate Rumble in Chicago, or you have a realtor or a lender or a construction person or an attorney
that you want to call out,
that you want to punch in the face,
right? Call out.
We have a platform for it. You can call them out. Call them out in the comments section. Don't call me out.
Yeah.
Unless you're somebody that I can probably beat up, then maybe I'll do it again.
And it gets to me. Like, so there's been so many funny call outs already this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
You're good at just, I can call people out on air. You got any good ones?
Yeah. It's Amir Syed.
Okay. Who's Amir boxing?
Our good friend Elbron Hanna wants to take him out.
Oh.
Wait, that's not
Back in
even
the ring.
fair. Elbron when he got beat up, and now he wants to call out for Amir?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did Amir agree?
Not yet.
Oh, man.
But he's going to do it. We're going to actually make a nice videogram to post and send out to our good friend, Real Estate Rumble supporter, Elbron and Amir.
I love them both. I don't know if I want to see those two punch each other in the face. I like them both. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Colin Hebson is coming back, the Hammer.
Okay. Who's he boxing? Some developer that pissed him off.
And
kicking the crap
Brendan
out of
Murphy in his office. So
Okay.
it's funny. They actually work together.
Okay.
And they called each other out like a couple weeks ago. And it was like, Colin's been awesome. He's
done it a couple times.
Yeah, and Yuval from Dreamtown.
Yuval's going to box in it?
No. But Yuval usually donates a bunch of money.
I was like, he's a
good
really
job,
laid
Yuval.
Back. He's a really nice, laid-back guy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him punching anybody in the face.
But they circled an email after they called me up and said, we want to fight each other. I'm like, you guys work together? Like yeah. we want to fight each other.
You know what would sell a lot of tickets? And I'm not calling him out because I love the guy. Not to box me, but to have him box somebody else. If you could get like a Tommy Choi to do it. If you get like Tommy Choi and Matt Laracy to box each other, that would be epic. Look what we just did there. Both of them are my good friends. They're going to be like, you asshole. I'm going to get text messages in a second like, we're not boxing.
Yeah.
Because I've like planted the seed in Cotter's head, which is probably trouble now. He's going to message them. Thank you so much. Mo Dodka signed you up for the Chicago Real Estate Rumble
that's
2019.
My standard
I just got
response is,
something in my headphones. ESPN is reporting that is a fight.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
gonna
definitely a
happen.
fight now.
But yeah, you always put on good ones. And sometimes the friend fights are good. Brendan's fight last year,
Yeah.
Nestor's fight, that thing was epic. That was
Yeah.
probably the best fight of the night.
yeah, I mean, and it's so funny,
They're
like
trying
watching
to kill each other.
Yeah, watching people like as the fighters come in the ring, and I'm not 100% in terms of like matchups, of making them good
I know.
fights.
We try our best every year.
Right.
We do. We try.
But that one I felt so strongly about that it was going to be a good fight that like everybody like that comes in, into the ring like first and second, and then people look at me and they're like, "What are you thinking?" And
I thought Nestor was going to kill him.
And I would just look at people and go, just watch. And, and sometimes I've been, incredibly right, like that one. And then there's been other fights where I've like, oh, I think that guy's going to win. And it's still a good fight, but, he didn't win. So I'm not like 100% in terms of like picking them. And then there's some fights that get over pretty quick where I was like, oh, I didn't think that was going to happen. But it's different when people get punched in the face and you don't know them very well, like how they're going to handle that situation, the pressure of being inside of a ring with 1,000 people watching. But that one for sure, like I knew in my heart of hearts that Joe Phelan, was going to give him hell.
Yeah, listen, Phelan has nothing but grit and heart, and he was a tough dude. Because when you looked at them, when Nestor came out in his tank top, I was like, what the hell did Cotter put Phelan in for? Nestor's gonna hurt him. And like the first couple seconds, Phelan took it like right to him, and I was like, oh shit, this is
actually Nestor had a standing 8 count in the first round.
Yeah. And it was they were tough, and they were good buddies, and they were bloodied up, and they were fighting.
Oh yeah, it was a good. There's that fight itself. Like if you talk to the people after, there were so many funny stories like within the actual fight. Like one was Nestor, big guy, much younger, played Division I college football, and was in the combine. I think he ended up playing in the CFL for a couple years, like an athlete. Yeah,
put up against poor Phelan.
Right,
he's just a tough dude.
Right, and the first round, he has a standing 8 count, and he flat out told me, he's like, I had to have a little quick talk with myself, that this old man is going to beat me up. I can't let this happen.
There's a lot of people watching too.
And then at the end of the fight, like you could just see, like they were gassed at the end of the first round, right? And there's just super gas in the second round. At the third round, Nestor got in a couple good shots and knocked Joe's mouthpiece out.
Yeah.
And our refs, are there to obviously save everybody, but also kind of encourage people to, you could do this, man. You can do this. Well, Joe's like and it was like only a couple seconds left in the round. Yale gives the mouthpiece back to Joe, and he's like trying to put it in his mouth. He's like, I'm done. He's like, come on, man. You got 15 seconds. You could do this.
You can
could
grit
do
it
this.
out.
Right.
You can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, Joe's like, okay. But you see, he put the mouthpiece in, and Joe didn't just try to run.
Yeah, he went after him.
He went after him,
Yeah.
right? And so, stuff like those great stories about it, like, dude, you're my hero.
That was my favorite fight of that one. Our good buddy 2 years ago, Pyle, when he went in there and he
against a Golden Gloves fighter, right?
Yeah, last minute pickup. That was, oh man, poor Pyle. Went
he
in there and
stood
he
up.
gave it
He
his
stood up.
own.
He
He's going
sure
to be
did.
on the show in a few weeks.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that when I walked into the locker room and I saw the guy he had to box, and I had sparred with him at Franklin. And that guy was seriously good. He'd won the Golden Gloves that year pretty easy. And he whipped my ass at Franklin Street a couple times, and I was like, oh, shit. And so I went to Quick, and I was like, hey, how much of this do you want to tell Pyle? This guy is a Golden Gloves champ. This year's Golden Gloves champ. Not like 10 years ago. This guy can box. And Jordan went out there, got his nose broken, but fought his butt off.
Yeah, and even before that, when somebody goes down last minute, and I have to quickly kind of find a replacement.
Find Mike Tyson to box them.
Find a replacement. I tell him listen, at this point in time, there's no there's no being
Easy
ashamed in not picking up or not continuing to fight, because the person that I'm going to find in the last minute to fight somebody with no notice, it's going to be pretty good.
Except for
Gonna
the
be a fighter.
toughest guy ever, Max, who had never boxed before, and you somehow put in the ring last year with 1 day's notice, and he agreed. He's like, I got no problem. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He's I got to give Max all the credit in the world. Never boxed before. You're just like, go ahead, go do it.
Yeah.
I find that inner animal in them, and I tell them, let it out. Let it
guilt
out.
the crap.
You
Let
guilt
that-
them.
Guilt them half to death, and
let
then they
that
do
animal out. Let's
And
see
if you
it.
don't, it's for the kids, and kids don't get the donation if you don't box.
Yeah, come on, Max.
Come
the
on,
kids are going to
Max.
suffer.
Yeah.
For the
Jeez, it's
kids.
all on
It's
you.
not
It's
exactly
all on
the
you.
tactic I used,
Oh.
but he was excited.
He was excited. He got in there and listen, like we said, it's not easy to get in there. It's not easy to get in there even when you've trained for 6 months to do it, or you've trained for 2-3 years to box. He did it on no notice at all. He's like, yeah, I'll just jump in and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Which is ballsy of
Yeah,
him.
jump in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, good for him. Did you watch the Fury Wilder fight?
I did not.
You didn't?
Yeah, I didn't
How
get
did
a
you guys both not watch it? You're both boxing fans. Did you at least see the ending where he got knocked
I'm in bed
out?
at 8:39 p.m.
So he, this story is
Every night.
insane. Wilder was obviously 40-0 with 39 knockouts. Fury was 27-0, but he had gone on a long streak where he attempted suicide. He was on drugs and alcohol.
Gained 8,000 pounds.
Yeah, he was over 400 pounds. He was in depression. He
Yeah.
had mental illness. And they're like, you probably shouldn't fight a dude who's 40-0 with 39 knockouts as your return fight. He's like, no, I'm the best in the world. I'm going to fight him, and I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to prove it. And he goes on. He's whooping his butt the whole fight. He gets kind of dropped in the 9th round or 8th round, but it was almost like a slip. He got hit behind the ear. He fell. Gets right back up. Wins the rest of that round, but it's still a 10-8 round because he got dropped. Wins basically every other round, and then 12th round, Wilder clips him with a right hand and literally the craziest left hook you've ever seen. He's out. His eyes are shut. The ref could have just called it, and it was weird because the ref started to count even when his eyes were out. The ref could have been like, he's out, it's over. But he gives him the count, and at 5, he does the Undertaker. He just sits up, gets up, makes the count, and then wins the rest of the round. And then boxing fucking robs him and calls it a draw. I mean, it was the greatest comeback story of all time, and they rob him, and it's a damn draw. But it was cool, and he donated his entire purse to mental health awareness. So he made 8 million pounds or 8 million euros,
Wow.
and every penny of it he donated.
Wow.
No
He
kidding.
said, I have enough money. I don't need any more money. He goes, the rest of the time I box, I'm going to box to give other people a better life. So
That's
cool.
That's
very
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
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 we should tell him we're doing a charity. Can you fly out here to Chicago to support the Real Estate Rumble?
Well, the
in
funny thing
May?
is, Wilder is his camp. I'm very good friends with a lot of people in his camp, and he's said in the past, hey, you guys want us to come out? We'll come to the event.
That would be something.
It
He
is,
I mean,
but
he
it
lives in England. So.
Yeah, but it isn't, because in our venue, in our event, you could have the heavyweight. You could have George Foreman there, and people were like, "Oh, it's the grill guy."
Yeah.
They'll be like,
That's true.
They'll
They're
be
not
like,
huge
"Oh,
boxing
that
fans.
guy does the grills." No, he was one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time.
You should box George Foreman for
That's
the
it.
Real Estate Rumble. That'd be fun.
Oh, that
He's
would
a
be great.
monster.
Yeah,
I have a good picture with him.
Yeah.
He was at an event that I fought at, and so I got a good picture with a
big
belt.
dude.
Oh, his hands are
Lunchbox hands.
yeah.
You know who we should get Cotter to box? Ooh, I got one.
I'm not boxing
The
anybody.
guy who took the number 2 boxing spot in the 1992 boxing
him.
season.
Find him.
We find
Find him.
and we settle this
Find him.
dispute once and
Yes,
for
once
all,
and for all.
of Ryan Cotter's actual boxing record.
That's
You
it.
would do that.
I'm getting in the gym tomorrow.
See, you would do it.
So it's funny when you said about the Tyson Fury and it being a big upset and he was robbed, biggest robbery in boxing history.
Him.
I
It's the second-
immediately
That's number
thought
2. That's the number
Cotter.
2 right behind it.
Exactly.
Right behind it.
exactly.
You know, John
Yeah.
has a knack for finding folks.
Oh, I
because he
do.
does. He's
Yeah.
good
Give
at
me a
He's kind
research.
of like a little Magnum PI type of
He is.
individual.
I do.
He
Yeah.
will. He's like the guy from Taken. He's like, I will find you,
I will find
and I'll
you.
make you box Ryan Cotter.
I have a
at the
certain
Real
set of
Estate Rumble
skills.
in May. Do we have a date?
May 16th.
May. Look at that! What a bump and set on May 16, 2019. Ryan Cotter and
It
I don't know his name.
is on.
Main event.
Yeah. TBD.
TBD. We're gonna figure him out. John is on it.
All I
He's
need
gonna
is the
find
name.
him.
Cruise through the boxing archives.
So when can we get people to start signing up for the Rumble?
So people basically, we start fighter submissions like next week. Website's up and running. Pretty much that's the main piece of it, and then we just start blasting out. I mean, I've had like people already been like, "Hey, how do I fight this year?" Like, wait till the fighter sign up is up. Sign up, and then we'll have a fighter orientation in January, which we basically lay out what you need to do and how you need to do it, and then we whittle it down to the number of fights that we want. We see who's going to be bringing in the most people, who's going to be
Right.
raising the most money for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and it's not a something where you're trying to like personally do something without giving back. So
Right.
if like, hey, I want to fight in this, I think like 2 people are going to come watch me, and I'm going to raise like $5. You're probably
Yeah.
not a right fit for this. Just go into like one of the gyms and get into like
A fight.
a sanctioned fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's the underlying message here, or maybe the overlying message is we got to raise money for Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's what you guys do. You guys have done an amazing job of it, and I say this every year leading up to it. There's not really a charity event, at least in real estate, and I've been a part of a lot of real estate charity in Chicago, that raises as much money and awareness as you guys do, and you do it in a single night. Now you work your ass off for 6 months leading up to it, but the event's one night, and you guys raise a crap ton of money.
Yeah, it's fun. The end benefit where they tell us, hey, you've impacted 300 kids' lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Very powerful. And are you guys going to do Miami next year? Is Miami still in the pipeline?
It is not.
It's not. So LA and Chicago.
LA and Chicago, I think we have those moving really in the right directions in terms of like awareness, raising more money every year. So we're gonna just keep on with those two,
I
and then
like
see
that.
what happens after that. For the next couple of years, it's difficult when you have family, and like myself and Greg, part of the team, and Camilo, who came aboard this year to kind of help out. We're all kind of young dads, and going back and forth to California is taxing on the family. So we think we have it set up, and we have partners there now to kind of take what we've done and actually bring it to the next level. And they're excited about it because it was such a great event. We had a bunch of people reach out like, "This is awesome! Like, you like it?
Let's do
Take it and
again.
run with it."
Yeah.
We'll still be overseeing. We have all the pieces that make your life easy, but just you become the branding individual of this and tell people it's your event.
Yeah.
And there's so many good things that come from this. You network a bunch more. You meet a bunch of people. Whatever business you're in, you can leverage it. On top of having the right moral compass, we want you doing this for all the right reasons. These are just some of the fringe benefits, but start with the right reason. You want to give back. You want to be part of the community. You're in real estate, and then the other things kind of fall into place.
No, I love it. And I think John and I probably agree with you. I think Chicago is such an amazing event, and LA is growing. It makes a lot of sense to take those two events, just blow them out of the water, instead of sending Al Brown to Miami again. Which I'm sure Al Brown wants to go back to Miami no matter what.
Right. But it's you need a team, and
Yeah.
to run any one of these events. Like it's made up of like not just myself, but like a group of like 10 to 12 individuals that really do a bunch of work. So to have that same group duplicated, 1 to 2 people couldn't go into a new market and think that they're going to do this whole event by themselves without sacrificing like their income, because it can. It's like there's a lot of like individual tasks that we are lucky enough now to delegate out so that the sum isn't the sum gets done without any one individual being overwhelmed.
Right.
Because nobody's being paid. Like we're not.
No,
everyone's
doing this
volunteering.
because they they care.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I'm excited for this year's. You said May 16th.
16th.
Okay, May 16th. Make sure I'm not doing anything on May 16th. Maybe we'll find somebody to box John. I don't know who John's got a beef with. Actually, I know somebody who John's got a beef with. I cannot say it on air, but
Give me the first.
if John finds your guy, I'll find John's guy, and we'll have a really good
That'd be-
co-main and
yeah.
a main event.
That would be very interesting.
John's been posting pictures of himself doing bench press. Not just a bench press itself. He had 225 on it. He had 2 plates. Were you benching that? Were you benching 225? Shit, don't want to mess with him.
So who's the guy?
I can't say it on air. Attorney-client privilege.
Yes.
Oh, it's on that level, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Steve.
Any
So I just gotta go. I just gotta check out the
docket
the docket, and
on
then
Friday.
pull it up. Right? Yeah.
and then we'll know. Anything for the holidays with the family? Any plans? Going anywhere?
Staying local.
Staying
How about
local.
yourself? You gonna be here?
Yeah, I'll be here too. I'm gonna be around. How about you, John? You going anywhere?
Local. Staying local. Yep.
John already just got back from Vegas. John's not going anywhere for a bit.
No,
That's right.
Vegas wasn't kind to John.
it was not.
Yeah.
There's so many fun things to do in Chicago around the holidays before, leading up to Christmas. Like this weekend is the holiday train. Sorry,
chain.
holiday train. I was going to say shout out to CTA,
Okay.
for having the
they
holiday
decorate
train.
the train.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So we go and we get a picture with Santa on the train, and then
That's
there's
cool.
the zoo lights.
You and Elbron?
Zoo lights are amazing.
Zoo lights are around. Me and Elbron. Yeah. What else is there?
Albron is actually Santa Claus.
The Kindle Market.
Yeah.
Always
Just packed,
fun.
don't go on the weekends.
Yep. And
It was just there on Thursday.
Oh, where?
Packed
yeah,
too?
it was busy. It wasn't like a Saturday, but it was
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah, it's been cold.
Christmas parade.
Navy Pier has the Winter Wonderfest, and then you have the ice skating, the Maggie Daly rink too,
Right.
which is pretty cool. Yeah, Chicago really does have a really amazing winter setup. There's so much to do, and it's a city that's got tons and tons of stuff going on.
We're out every weekend, with me, Nikki, and the little guy, doing something.
It's a cool time for him
Yeah.
because he's coming into that age where he's probably starting to remember things. Is he 3?
3.5, yeah.
3.5 now, yeah.
No, he remembers stuff like
Yeah.
an elephant.
Well, he's probably developing his first memories because kids start remembering things at 3. So technically, this might be the first winter where he's like, I remembered seeing Santa on that train, or I remembered, going
Bossing
to zoo
mommy and daddy
lights.
around.
Yeah, tell
like he-
mommy and
like he
daddy
does.
what's up.
Yeah.
It was the cutest when I was holding mitts for him at was it a year or 2 years
Yeah.
ago at the fighter orientation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
don't
have
know
him
if that
back.
we looking back on
It's
that
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
So he's 1.5 hitting the mitts.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. At daycare, he's exhibited his boxing skills
He
on
has?
on some older kids.
Should blame it
Oh.
on Coach Mo.
Yeah.
Blame it on yourself. Yeah, there's this guy Mo. He held mitts for him 2 years ago.
Like, why does your kid punch the kids just to take toys away from them? Like, I'm not sure. It's
He
probably
takes
his mom.
after his dad.
It's probably his mom.
My business partner Jeff told me the first day his kid went to like preschool, he was standing in line, and the line was moving, and he threw his hands in the air. He goes, "What the fuck?" And he got a call. And he goes, "The teacher or the preschool teacher was like, maybe he heard something like on the playground." I was like, No. That's legitimately exactly what Jeff does. He throws his hands in the air and goes, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And I was like, he took it right from you and did
Oh, yeah.
exactly what you do, which is probably why. It's like when you're shadow boxing pretending it's 1992 in the mirror,
Oh,
and
yeah.
your son gets a glimpse. He goes to school and does that.
Yep.
He does it actually in the garage. He'll come in and he'll like hit the heavy bag already.
What year was that? 92 or 96? Because John needs to take note of this. Your boxing year.
It was 90. I'll get you the exact dates.
Okay.
I'll get you the
And
exact
his
Yeah,
name?
this- and his name.
Yeah.
We're gonna invite him. I'm gonna fly him out, first class. We'll put him up in a hotel.
Oh, we could have him on here.
We're gonna have him on here.
So we gotta
Yeah.
look. We gotta
Talk a
look
lot of
at.
crap.
So
Yeah.
so Tony DiCarlo was the national champ at the time, and so it would have been somebody that would fought him. I'll find out.
Okay,
I'll
we're
find
gonna invite him to WheelHouse sometime in April to talk a lot of smack.
Yeah, have a
and we're gonna set
shit-talking
this up.
episode.
It's probably
have him
like
listen.
it's probably like 8,000 pounds now.
Watch him be ripped.
Oh yeah.
Because Cotter can still move. I sparred with Cotter
absolutely.
last year. He can still
Yeah.
move. Wouldn't that be awesome for you if he sucks now?
Yeah. I'm looking for there's also this kid from fourth grade that beat me up. Looking for you,
boy or
Marty.
girl?
Looking for you.
Some chick beat him up.
Yeah. Who else? That's really it. I mean, those two people come back to mind.
I had
More than
glasses
that.
and braces until 8th grade, so when I was real young, I got picked on.
There's a long list.
But I'm probably Facebook friends with most of them. If you guys want to do this, we could do it on May 16th. They probably wouldn't box me now, though. Probably wouldn't. There's one or two realtors I would box. I'm not going to name any names. You already know who they are.
Yeah. We'll see if we can put that together. How's the back?
Listen, I could be in a wheelchair. If you get the one boxing match I want put together, I'll get up and we'll make it happen.
We could do chair fighting where we just put the two chairs together, and so you guys are knee to knee.
Listen,
and just punch each
if
other.
you can make this one boxing, if you can make the boxing match happen, we'll move it to Allstate Arena instead of.
That's funny.
Instead of, are we doing it back at
the Park West?
the Park West?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, we went. Cotter and I and you, John, can BS for probably an hour or 2 hours. But Cotter kind of saved us today. We were going to have Matt Margolis on. I goofed up. Cotter is a good friend of the show. He's been on the show many, many, many times before. It was cool to have him on today because he has made a big shift in his career to Movement Mortgage. And like Ryan said, Movement kicks ass all across the country. And now that I've looked into him being a real estate broker owner, I really hadn't heard of them until you got involved with them, which is actually should show the folks at Movement Mortgage how much of a push Ryan does have. Because as soon as Ryan told me about them, I looked into them, and they're huge. They're kicking ass, and I'm sure you're going to help them kick some more ass here in Chicago.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with Movement. There's so much shifting of players in the Chicagoland area when it comes to real estate and lending. It's going to be really cool to watch the next 6 months or so play out between real estate brokerages and real estate lender companies.
All the consolidation that just has to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, like our business is tough.
Yeah.
And people that are in it for a while, they sometimes just get tired of like, listen, like I don't want to wake up every morning and have to fight for every penny that's out there. So let's just consolidate it, and then I transfer my responsibilities over here, and then I get back to doing this, and that happens like from a CEO, CFO level, across the scope. So within the real estate and lending community, the consolidation factor is going to be crazy over the next 120 days.
I think the next 6 months are going to be really crazy. I mean, we're getting poached like crazy, but we made a stand last week and said, come F with us, we're going to recruit back. So we got a lot of people trying to poach and do what they're doing. And, we sat in our office last week and we just said, hey, listen, we'll fight back, but it's happening a lot, both in lending and real estate. So it'll be cool to watch the next little bit, cool and scary to watch the next little bit pan out. But I'm excited because Movement's going to be a big player. I mean, they're a big player nationally, so they can come in here and hang with the big guys. A lot of little companies can't come and make a splash in today's market, at least the next year or 2 years. And Movement's got a lot of momentum behind them, so it'll be cool.
Culturally, I think it's so unique what they promote. It's basically everything that we talk about all the time, which is community, giving back. And it's not just like lip service. Like there's several lenders in Chicago that have adopted a foundation or it started some sort of give back initiative, and they're really not into it. They do it because they got to do it because right, because if I don't do it, then we're just greedy, right? Their mindset is completely different. They're so family oriented. It is just it's refreshing. When I went there to visit them on a recruiting trip, and within the first hour, I was like, "You guys are really different, really different." They talk about, we want you to, and this is kind of the same thing I say, which is, that's why I felt like such a natural fit. It was like, listen, get into work super hard, get the hell out of there, go home, have a blast with your family, get back to the community, and then, come back the next morning, let's do it all over again.
Yeah.
Have fun. Like the people that you're working with, don't be around a bunch of, negative people, because the effects, although maybe good for a bottom line, aren't good for you personally.
Yeah.
So a lot of things they promote, it just resonated so much with me that I knew that they were a good fit. It was a calling of sort, and that I could carry their flag here, proudly and say, there's a better way of doing business where it's not just the bottom line.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm excited, given all of that, to watch Movement kick butt here in Chicago. And yeah, that is, I've known you for a long time, so we've been buddies for a long time. That is what you preach. So, like you said, it was a calling that obviously probably was a weird, correct fit for you then, because that's not how the industry, whether it be lending or real estate, typically works. Like you said, a lot of people will start things to have a good look and make it look good on the PR side, going back to what we were saying at the top of the show about PR, but they don't actually mean it. You do. You spent a good part of your career giving back to the community, giving back in all the charities that you do, especially the Real Estate Rumble. So it's cool that you're with them. And I'm excited to watch them and the Real Estate Rumble kind of try to give back together. That'll be cool to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited. So it was good timing to have you on. We're going to have you on probably a couple more times leading up to a Real Estate Rumble because it sounds like we got some exciting stuff, exciting matchups in the work.
And who knows what kind of matchups we're going to get.
Yeah,
over
going
the next,
forward.
Yeah, the holiday times usually when beefs start.
Yeah.
Because people will see each other.
Taking I'll tell you
bottle
what,
of wine and
one
tossed at somebody's
I'll tell you
head.
What,
it's
one
on.
or two more real estate broker owners try to poach my agents. I'll have a back-to-back-to-back fight, or you can have like a battle royale, and I'm happy to jump in there. There's one or two names I'll throw your way as I'm being poached. I'll say, hey, listen, I'll even do this. We'll do a loser leaves town match.
Ooh,
the old school WWF way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Little wild west action.
I win. Your agents are mine. Vice versa. There's one or
throw
two.
in the keys to the car.
Yeah,
The deed to the house.
Listen, the good thing for me is most broker owners are total wimps, so I'm happy to take that bet most of the time.
Most of the time.
Except for our good buddy Diaz. He's not one. I will not do a loser leaves town match against him.
Be very selective.
Very selective.
This one, that one.
There's one or two I'm dead certain I can kick the crap out of.
Right.
And they try to poach from me. So
What's their names again?
yeah, not on air. You know one of them. But anyways, thanks a lot for coming on, buddy. John, are we going to announce next week's guests?
We are. We have a couple great people coming on next week. Let me get the graphic up there. Boom. Next week, once again, via FaceTime. And I swear I'm going to get it worked out so that we can actually see the person and hear the person. Her name is Chaunty Myers. And she's the CEO of the Centurion Military Alliance. She's down in Texas. And what they do is they help active members of the military who are ending their tours and want to adjust into the workforce and have skills that they've learned in the military that they want to then bring in to move forward with their life and either start a business or slide into an executive position. She owns a firm that connects military with companies that want to invite them in. It's a great organization. And we also have Matt Margolis, buddy of yours, who is a genius in elder law. So anybody who is retired and interested in learning a little bit about some of the ins and outs of retirements and taxes and everything, the paperwork necessary, or people who are maybe in my age group, maybe Mo's age group, who have parents that are in their golden age and need a little help with some of the paperwork, watch this show because we're going to have a lot of great information.
Yeah, I can't wait. Obviously, our FaceTime is going to be very impactful, and
It is.
They're doing incredible work. And Matt and I have been friends for a very, very long time. He's helped a lot of my clients, a lot of my family members as they got older, not just with the setting up estate planning and elder law, but a lot of asset protection stuff when it comes to that. And he's got so much information, and him and I could probably go for 10 hours, but we'll do our very best to keep it to an hour. So I'm excited to have my good buddy Matt Margolis on. He's already asking us what he should be wearing next week to the show. So
Blue suit.
Yes, do it. A couple shades of blue.
We'll have Cotter give you some advice, or you can. He's a lot bigger than you. I was gonna say he could borrow some from Cotter, but Matt's like 6'5", so
Nice.
that might not work. But thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and then we're going to be off the last week of December,
Correct.
and we'll be back at the beginning of the year. We'll see you guys.
3, 2, 1.